Hello, everyone. This is Cookies, and I've got another turn for you. I believe this is turn 34, and it looks like we've got some action. We've even got a little bit of arena action, which is exciting. Also, a bunch of messages. So, Pythium, to storm or not to storm? Another turn of preaching probably represents +6 candles towards me and brings a harbinger in for easier non-communion misting, and a ping is always helpful. On the other hand, it's one more turn, Pyrene gets to research, and the gnawing hunger of a major battle postponed. uh, I'll be. I think normally I am a pretty aggressive player, and I love just storming on in. I think in this case it makes sense to gym bait. I think you just go inside, you gym bait. There's only so much stuff Pyrene has, so if you gym bait it, especially if it's blood slave based, like another uh, pain transfer Sabbath, you could get a lot of that stuff out of there potentially if you organize the gem bait correctly. Alright, never mind my previous anguish. Ultimately have decided to play it safe. The combined value of pinging, possibly gem burning, there we go. Preaching and adding an additional thug or two to the army, I think outweighs one more turn of research. At this point, I'm sending the Rotarius away, as I don't think they'll do much in a siege despite being good versus cavalry. You don't necessarily have to send them away. You could just leave them on the fort in case it doesn't go well. A note on Diplo. When Shenu napped with Pyrene and Inda napped with me, I contacted their neighbors, Agartha and Jotun, to encourage them to attack. Both expressed interest, but only Agartha committed in exchange for some payment. However, a turn or two later, they informed me that they were napping Shen again because Jotun had ended one with them. As I defended against Shenu, I was surprised a few turns later to get a request from Shenu to peace with me in exchange for a dwarven hammer and a province so they could attack Jotun. Jotun shortly thereafter informed me that they had ended nap with Shenu. At this point, I did not inform Jotun I had made peace with Shenu, since I had just exited war and I did not want to get cold feet and give Shenu, who has proven fickle already, a reason to come back and fight me. This has upset Jotunheim, and they consider it a betrayal. I can certainly understand the frustration. It sucks to find yourself fighting someone directly you expected to have forces split. On the other hand, I don't think anyone should do anything as a favor to another player without explicit agreement of expectations. In this case, I kind of thought Jotun was attacking out of his own arrogance, given they first decided to begin the war with Agartha. They certainly never expressed to me their plan to end Nap until I had been defending Shenu for about 3 turns. I only got their message after my agreement. Would also add that Agartha only reneged on our alliance because of Jotun anyway. Finally, Jotun is the biggest player and ultimately my threat. Always remember that the goal of the game fundamentally is to kill every other player. Relationships in Diplo are well and good, but don't expose yourself for someone's sake unless you know how it advances your interest. If that makes me a backhanded villain, that is life. Uh, yeah, I think Jotun didn't need another war. I disagree with jumping into new wars. The bribe might have helped them decide to commit to it, but I understand their frustration too, but you also can't control or rely on other people's Diplo. Holding them to ironclad agreements, and it doesn't even sound like there might have been an agreement here. There was an expectation that they would keep fighting, is I think a mistake that a lot of players make. So, but it's something that I do offer in some of my diplomatic agreements, where it's like, hey, if you join this war, I will not peace out with this player unless, we either peace out together or you peace out first. And that's what my way of showing my commitment to the war to help them to feel a little bit braver. Okay, so that was the big Pythia message. All right, so now we've got Agartha. Looks like the Yes Machaka War has finally come to an end. Jotun's player is trying to use that to convince me to turn back. It's well past where I needed to conquer or die, however. Pythium this turn will be the first to conquer another nation's capital. It's actually surprising it took this long. If I ended up fighting Yes and Jotun at the same time, I also don't think it's certain defeat. I have several turns before Yes could be ready to do more than raid, and Yes won't be able to expand easily past the shoreline. So, ready to do more than raid. Oh, so he's thinking Yes might attack him, but in other messages, people were mentioning Chaka may be attacking him. And Yes won't be able to expand easily past the shoreline. Short of murdering Winter, taking out my chaff, Jotunheim will fall before then. Chaka also seems interested in vulturing the old Nabah lands. Ah, so that's how you buy off Machaka. That seems a lot easier to do than convince Machaka to attack Agartha. Which I'm happier to have him have it than any of the other alternatives. Yeah, that makes sense. A strong Machaka, I think, helps Agartha in this case. They are natural allies. Yes, his player says he isn't interested in attacking me. And I think if I defeat Jotunheim decisively, that could hold true. Yeah, Yes wants to kill Oceania and take thrones. Let's see what happens in the next few turns. I'm taking some risks to expand quickly where others might vulture, most especially by moving into Jotun's cap circle instead of sending a siege force against his throne. I want as much siege strength as possible at Jotunheim to bring their walls down ASAP. Every turn is another turn I look vulnerable. Jotunheim could research murdering Winter. He's putting a lot of stock in the Jotunheim research, and I'm not sure if it's warranted. Well, I made a mistake in my planning. Somehow I forgot I didn't have Evocation 4 yet, so I can't cast Breath of the Desert yet. The gamble is still that Jotunheim doesn't have Murdering Winter, but Breath of the Desert was how I was going to hedge my bets and protecting my human mages and chaff. It's going to be an expensive correction. First, I'm splitting much... Oh gosh, this is shadowboxing too hard, I think. Remember, Jotunheim started the war against Amon in like turn 10. He finished expansion like turn 20, didn't have his first fort up until like turn 25 or something. Jotunheim is not going to have this tech. I don't think you have to worry. I mean, we can take a look at the graph too. First, I'm splitting out much of the chaff from the main army. Now, Agartha might not know all that because we've got omniscience, but still. We'll arrive one turn later at Jotunheim, but on the plus side, could detour to the throne instead. It won't be a liability in the main battle. Second, it's going to cost me some water gems and some astral gems. By making and teleporting a Ring of Frost, my one essential human mage. The Golden Order Adept will be casting Solar Eclipse for the big battle. The only cold res item I already have in the army is the Carapace of the Mountain, and that would be a waste on him, and only 5 cold res, which I'm not confident would save him in a cold fort province. Okay. Jotunheim, I wanted to discuss my diplomatic failure in this game. Here's some advice I would given myself 5 turns ago. Don't go to any war before you finish your last. Yes! Be clear in your diplomatic agreements. That's less important. But yes, this. 100% this. The first one is self-explanatory. Given the Nabah Storm fiasco, hopefully we got it this turn. We'll have to see the battle. The second one is about how I got myself into a war with Agartha and Shin, which will be hard for me. So some turns, Shinu messaged me asking me to help with Agartha attacking her, to which I agreed to, because she offered me provinces I wanted. As part of this agreement, because I was worried she might turn on me, I even asked for a word from her that she wouldn't turn on me until Agartha is finished. However, what I failed to ask is whether she is going to be at war with Agartha, and since it was convenient for her, she concealed that fact. So yeah. Okay, I mean, this is just something you learn about a player and you carry into future games. That's fine. So it's like the spirit of the agreement versus the letter of the agreement. I think no matter how clearly you word things, generally speaking, if people are looking for an excuse to not do something, they'll find it. So just don't worry about it. Just make sure you're ready to fight the 1v1. You should always be prepared for people to back out of coalitions. Unless you arrange the coalition in such a way that they get a lot for it. So what he did there was he imposed a cost on her for joining, which was the provinces, which provided an incentive for Xinyu to back out of the agreement to potentially get those provinces back. Whereas maybe if you did more like a traditional, like, hey, we'll split, this way, but I can only join in a few turns after I finish up my other war, then maybe things could have gotten a bit better. The fighting between the other two could have started between, what was it, Agartha and Xinyu. Ideally, you wait for fighting to start. It's too easy to peace out before fighting has started. So, yeah, it does seem like maybe some good lessons are being learned here, though. I mean, why would I go one versus someone when I could go two versus one and get so much more? When I found this, I was pissed and slightly drunk, so I pressured her under a threat of war into declaring on Agartha and stopping the attack on Pythium. This almost never works out, the pressure tactics. And maybe in like a tournament finals or something, but generally speaking, this kind of pressure, because it's not real life, right? Like they're not worried about dying from it. It's a video game. So like when you threaten someone and the only thing at risk is a particular game or a game state, even if they care about it a lot, I think people are more inclined to be indignant about that. So threats, I don't think normally work out well unless it's um, just like a threat of an all-in a particular game. But I think a lot of players will they'll call your bluff on threats. So you have to be prepared to back up that threat. So you're basically buying into the 2v1 at that point. So that was definitely, I think, a mistake. And I've done this a couple of times. I've threatened all in people. I've even followed up on the threat a couple of times too. But uh, I don't think this is like top end Diplo. It is Diplo that I resort to when I'm stressed at work and low on time, because it's really fast to negotiate. They'll either try to find some arrangement because they really don't want to fight, and then you have to meet them part way on that. You can't just enforce a ton of demands, or you can just kind of like you don't threaten them, and you just kind of like back off a bit, maybe talk to them, see like what they're hoping to win, like what their long-term plans are. You could see, like, try to think about the situation from their point of view and the position that they're in, and see if you can find a way out that gives them something and helps their position, but that also helps your position. I'm a big fan of trying to find win-wins. All right. Under a threat of war and declaring on Agartha and stopping the attack on Pythium, which I didn't want to get 2 versus 1, to which she refused. At the same time, Agartha also refused to go back to Nab after I complained to him about this and wanting to peace out and split Xinyu. Yeah, but once people have started moving, like, people are only willing to do so much Diplo and like go back on agreements so much. One betrayal is a lot easier to manage than like multiple betrayals. But yeah, they probably had decided to team up and kill you. Remember, both players changed their allegiances multiple times. I mean, it's a free-for-all game. You're gonna have that, even at breaking their allies. So here's for opportunism. What I want, be clear what you know. That this is not the main lesson that should be learned. The first one is finish the war first, and then you always need to be prepared to fight the 1v1 and for maybe a coalition to backtrack. So before you declare on Agartha, maybe you negotiate like a nap 5 with Shinu or like a longer piece so that you can feel confident that you're not going to get backstabbed. Omitting things is not cool, but permitted. Yeah, it's true. It is Machiavellian Diplo, which not everyone likes, but I think it's the easiest to enforce from an admin perspective. Don't be a sucker. Yeah. I don't think you're ever gonna have 100% perfect communication in such a way where people won't find some little term or way out or just decide to break it. So I wouldn't, I don't think that's quite the right lesson. All right. And then also, if somebody's betraying you, if you want, you can always leave open the door to communication and be like, hey, if you decide you want to change your mind, let's talk about it. And maybe we can come to a peace agreement. And sometimes you'll get some offers that way, especially if you're able to make Diplo moves on other fronts. All right. But yeah, it sounds like Jotunheim's gotten outplayed a bit. I think they needed to stay at peace and scale a bit, not get involved in other wars. All right. So first up, we got Shinu. And, this is a little bit of Monday morning quarterbacking too, because I get to be omniscience. Let's see. Bark skin on the Shade Beast is really nice. Yeah, look at this. So, pretty cool. Has some cavemen, nice mixed forest. We've got a Shura thug, it looks like. So 20 attack, 30 damage on the Baneblade. The Long Strider boots are nice because they give swiftness. So you got 16 combat speed. So the Shura kind of behaves like a knight in some ways. 17 prot with the ethereal. Does have spirit form, so can't be hard to buff protection. You can try to replace the heavy armor, I guess, though. Yeah, and then we got a bunch of solos getting made off the PD. Yeah, this is a good raid. I like this raid. Alright. Loses 6 cavemen. That's fine. They're high on the upkeep. So you wanna get your value and then be done with them. Alright. Vengartha now. Yeah, just gonna Mind Blast through that. In Rasenna, let's go ahead and see. Here we got the Gareth in main stack. A fair number of gems on this army. So using the fire gems, I think, for the cold res was the plan. Or maybe I think that was the plan. And this is pretty beefy army. Was that 12 Penumbrals? Shard Guard are a really good unit. It's just I feel like every time I fight them, they just don't do anything. I don't know. So I'm somewhat excited to see Shard Guard do something. And then, all right, we got Oceania attacking Yes and Broken Ocean. So the Sirens are back out raiding. Unfortunately, I don't think this gets them any income. It just prevents Yes from getting the income. And then, all right, we have a fair amount of Jotun stuff, but it's a scout ping. So 4 Thrums Herdings, 20 Veti. Oh, and it's Fort PD, so 20 Jotun Bondies. In the internal Sentinel Hills. Yeah, so important Jotun here is going to have to play out of his mind a bit to try and survive this. Ooh, maybe some little elementals. I don't know. Probably didn't trigger gem usage. In the Great Blue. Ooh, another Siren Raid. Alright. Another Garthan army. Killing PD. Yeah, this is a lot of stuff. And Kunal. Is this a lumber construct thug? It is, with a flambeau. Oh, that's fun. Alright. So Holy Fire is AoE 3 and does AP fire damage. He's got 5 fire resist, so he might damage himself a little bit. Let's see. So trying to put this fort under siege, it looks like. I think this is Fort PD. Oh, Boots at Behemoth. Okay. How often is he attacking with this flambeau then? Kills someone with the flambeau hit, but otherwise he's wasting his time trampling. Yeah. So trampling units, they actually do use their weapons sometimes. That was a big buff coming from Dominions 5, but they don't use it every turn they attempt to trample. So it's not that common to see them actually swing the sword. So I think he probably could have killed all of this already. He does trample the leader, though, if he was just swinging the flambeau. But cool thug. Love to see a lumber construct thug. Let's see. Is that here? No, that was down here. Yeah. So loses some pale ones, but that's fine. Yes. Oh, let's see. This is a throne, isn't it? So yes, going after this throne. Gosh, a trivial throne. Oceania really could have taken this when they were dilly-dallying. It's just 5 wizards, some heavy infantry, some heavy cav. So some of them get caught up on the heavy infantry. Others are making their way to the wizards. This one's alone 1v1 with a fire elemental and dies. Alright. I think this one got 2 kills. Yeah. Alright. So, let's see. Yeah, just 2 of the Morvark Knights. It's expensive, 230 gold. But it's fine. Should be able to hire some new ones. Alright, we have a big Earth Mage. Ooh, Barbarians, though. Really relying on the attack density and the repel from the Yaris. Or maybe a big Blade Wind? Temper. Just do temper armors on the Barbarians. Okay. So the Bakemono do pretty well there. Where was that? That was here. Then in Golfalas. Alright, we've got a Shinu army. Kind of a budget one. This guy's not thugged out, but just fighting 1 PD. Then we've got Pyrene versus Pythium. Yeah, I'm judging all these other people's Diplo. Meanwhile, I've just put myself in a diplomatic desert in another game, but yeah. Sometimes it's just easier to play a little bit suicidal if you're really busy. But let's see. Oh, it doesn't quite get into combat with some of the Rotarias. Getting into combat with them would potentially get rid of a bunch of them. Especially some imp spam, maybe? I don't know. Although they're probably just as likely to jump on Emerald Guard and do nothing. Alright. So I think that was here. And then some number of Rotarius are probably killed. Alright. So a gem burn? Very nice. 4 pearls, 4 paths. Oh no, we put the bog beast behind the army. Oh. Storm, Twilight, so it gets out. The gems are less of a concern. Pyrene should have the gems to do this a few times. Does have the gray ones. I don't see any blood slaves here, though. But the bog beast being behind the army is horrible. Look at all the damage you're doing to your mage core. Yeah. Alright, so this one dies from the poison, so kills one of his own Sorgina. Pretty irreplaceable at this point in the game for Pyrene. So yeah, that was a pretty bad scripting mistake. How much do they lose? 5 Sorginas and 3 Emerald Knights. Oh, false god, I'm gonna give you some shit for this one. Good grief, that was some bad scripting. Come on, buddy. Alright. Let's see this. So storming the Ba. We've got the 2 Smasher Thugs, including this Thrimsgoad. He's moved the gear onto a Jotun Goad, because I think the Scrotty got the shit beat out of it. And then all that's inside is the Malika that fled. So this should be pretty easy for Jotunheim here. And I didn't check the candles. Nabal might have felt compelled to sally out last turn due to Dominion pressure. It is a lot of Holy Twos sitting on their capital. So a little bit of body ethereal helping to try and clear out these walls. Alright, it looks like we've got the route. Alright, GG Naba. It was rough. You got rushed down really quick, but you put up a hell of a fight. You'll love to see it. And yeah, that was honestly not that bad. I really liked that cap defense. So, good job, Naba, and I will see you in another game, perhaps. Alright, it does kill a Veti Hag. One more Hag goes down for Jotunheim's problems, and he finally gets the Albatross of Naba off of his neck, just in time to potentially have Machaka try to steal this Naba region. Alright, we've got an arena battle. So we've got a Capricorn with 2 toy swords that will imagine wounds. The Cat Charm is for the defense skill. Then we've got Swiftness. And a Slave Collar is for the arena to prevent spell casting. Also got some stat debuffs. So we're looking at 27 hit points, 4 protection with just toy swords. So really just hoping to do fast damage. And then the Morgan Champion is a GSS Thug, 15 attack, 31 damage. Still gets Glamour though, so it's pretty strong in the arena. It looks like it didn't get re-scripted at all, but yeah, it doesn't need to be. Just one-shots that Pam. Maybe they didn't realize that it was no spellcasting, so it was a People's Arena. And then we've got a Mounted Commander, so this should be pretty easy. So yes, now gets 24 fire gems and 282 gold. Pretty nice result for yes. And then yes, gets attacked by some Krakens. Alright. So in terms of combat in the cave system, Agartha clearing out these barbarians, and then let's jump to the surface. So we had 2 raids out by Sirens, and the Krakens also take a province. So yes, it's going to have some counter raiding to do. They also took the Golden Throne. This is a much better prize for them than the Leper Fens. And they can potentially look at this Oceania fort here by these Trogs. So maybe they can just work this way over here, and then they can also look at the Throne of Chains. So I like Yis's position a lot right now. They've won the underwater knife fight, the Oceania being a little bit late to come help Agartha, and then Agartha getting cold feet because they were fighting a 1v1. Sometimes people like coming late to a 2v1, so hoping that they can just get a bunch of spoils and not do a lot of fighting, but that often gives a really easy avenue for someone on the who's getting 2v1 to piece out the other person who's doing a lot of the work. So, ooh, sorceresses. Yeah, a lot of gems on this coastline here. All right. So moving up to the Agartha-Jotunheim War. So Jotunheim clears out Nabha. Agartha puts Kunal under siege. They've got their 3 big stacks here. Speaking of research, let's just pull that up because we've talked about it a couple of times. Jotunheim's research is terrible. So, and Agartha is in second place. Agartha's kind of getting into the mid game. Jotunheim's still kind of in the early game, to be honest. They are not prepared to be fighting this war. All right. So they get pinged here. There's a huge Shinuyama army, another pretty large Shinu army here. There's multiple Agarthan stacks here. This could be a very quick war where, this gets split and then Machaka comes up and just takes Nabha really quick after Jotunheim put in all this work to take it. And you just get like a 3v1, everyone gets some splits and they're happy and the wars are quick. Jotunheim gets one choice, and it's mainly where he sends what's left of his army. So he could take these 3 groups and combine them here and have one big stack to do a battle with. That might be a good option, especially standing here, because then he could react to either one. If he divides and tries to protect both, it could be rough. So Machaka still hasn't left their capital yet, though. Maybe they're just trying to get a little bit of scaling in, because they're also pretty far behind, but they've got okay research. They're not out of the game on research. Here's the army size graph. So yeah, 2 of the 3 biggest armies going after Jotunheim here. Tough position to be in. All right. And then Pythium. So Pythium does their gem bait. They can gem bait again. The blood slaves were not deployed this turn. So maybe he'll be less concerned about a big pain transfer Sabbath, and maybe he'll feel confident enough to storm. Also put Terranea under siege. So yeah, I think Pythium might storm here. I mean, what was inside? 84 Emerald Knights. I mean, it's now 18 Sorginas because of that scripting mistake. These Bog Beasts have done more for Pythium in a while than a lot of Pythium's troops have. Yeah, so we'll have to see. I mean, you could see if the player's just being kind of inactive and trying to gem bait again and see if the Bog Beasts kill a bunch of mages again, because right now he's traded 1 Theurg for 5 Sorginas. And they're similarly priced, and if you kill maybe another 5 or 6 Sorginas, you could be in pretty good shape. So we'll see. We'll see if Pythium opts for that route. All right. And then we've got, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the graphs. We're at 35 minutes. Woof. I was hoping to do 2 turns this episode, but it looks like we're not going to get to. All right, Agartha up a bunch, Jotunheim down a bunch, Shenu up a little. Shenu leading on forts. They've had potentially a lot more fort construction, which should show up in the research graph, unless they haven't done a lot of construction research, which maybe Pythium and Agartha have. Blood income, gem income. Agartha up quite a bit this turn. And then regular income Pythium's very high up there. Okay. However, Jotunheim has ensured by killing Nabad that they will not be the first player eliminated, which can be its own perk. I believe, yeah, I think Nabad's the first one to go down. On turn 34, which in my opinion is a little bit late, but also around the time First War should be ending. So, Yis is finishing off Oceania. I mean, if your First War goes really well, it could be finishing around turn 25, but um, turn 34 isn't so late. We had the First War between Menchaca and Yis. We had Yis and Agartha. So Yis being a little late to kill Oceania is fine because they've already fought a bunch. We had Shenu versus Pyrene, Shenu versus Pythium, and now Shenu versus Jotunheim. So a lot of inconclusive wars have been fought. So from that perspective, it's not surprising. All right, I think we'll go ahead and end there. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.